Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet this skirt. It's two stitches we use for this skirt. We need a stitch marker, and I'm using 5mm crochet hook, scissors and a tape measurement. I already make one skirt. I use Alice for this, which is different from the yarn I'm about to use for this project. You can make it to any size you want. We'll be working it with a very simple stitch. This is the yarn I use for this particular skirt, Alice Balana. You don't have to use this. A medium weight yarn can also work for this skirt. I use this whole skein for the first skirt you just see, and I'm using now a 4 medium weight yarn. You can use any 4 medium weight yarn of your choice. So we are going to start by working on the ribbon for the waist. I'm going to chain 10 and I'll add 1 stitch at the end. So you can make it to any length you want the ribbon. You want it long, short, you can adjust the chains. And after you get the length you want, you are going to skip 1 stitch and make a single crochet into the second stitch. And I'm going to repeat the same method into every stitch by putting 1 single crochet into every stitch until I reach the end of my chains. Work single crochet into every stitch around. This is how the first round is looking like, and when you finish you are going to chain 1 and you will turn your work. Chain 1 doesn't count as stitch, so we're going to skip that chain 1 into the next stitch, working into the back loop only. Go there and make a stitch, work single crochet, and this is what we are going to repeat for this round, going into the back loop only of our stitches and work single crochet into every stitch until you reach the end of your beginning row, and I'll meet you back at the end. This is how we work the ribbon for our skirt. So whenever you finish the round, you chain 1 and then turn your work. Make sure you have the same amount of stitch you have, and when you chain your work, your turn, and then you skip that chain 1 into the next stitch, go into the back loop only, make single crochet into every stitch around until you have the length you want for the project. So me, I'll keep on working like this until I have the length I want, and then I'll stop. I just repeat the same thing. No, don't forget to chain your 1 whenever you finish every round, and that chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. You always skip it and then walk into the next stitch, going into the back loop only, and then into every stitch around, working single crochets into the back loop only. So work like this until you have the length you want, and I'll meet you back at the end. So as you see, this is how it's going to look like when you finish your project, the ribbon for the waist side. So I'm going to work mine until I have what I want. So this is what my ribbon is looking like. This is what I have got, and I'm not going to make too much because it's stretchy, the ribbon is stretchy, so I'm going to mention it. And I have about 26 inches and half. This is what I have for the waist side, my ribbon. so you can mention it around your waist, and if it is okay with you, and you can just stop working, and we're going to close it both together. So when you finish the last round, we're going to join these together, this ribbon together into the first stage. You go in there and pull up a yarn from that first stage. You're going to make a slip stitch, and then into that same stitch, the first stitch, you go into both loops, and then into the next stitch also you go into both loops. You pull up a yarn from that side and make a slip stitch. This is how we are going to join our ribbon together. Then into the next stitch, both loops, and then into the next side also go into both loops, and then make a slip stitch. Now this is how we're going to join it. All the way making slip stitch, go into both loops of the ribbon. So make sure you go into the last stage, don't skip it. Yeah. So we finish joining it together. You're going to chain one. This is how it's looking like. This is the right side of our work, and where the slip stitch take place is going to be the inside. So you will chain one here, and then we are going to start the pattern. But before we start, we are going to mark the middle side of our work. This where the slip stitch take place is going to be at the middle. Make sure it's at the middle, and then we are going to put stitch marker at the side and stitch marker into the other side. This is where our increase is going to take place, and where the slip stitch take place is going to be at the center, the middle. So now we are going to start the pattern. Make sure you chain one. Into that first stitch, we are going to make a single crochet, let me say an extended single crochet. Instead of making it a normal single crochet, you just go ahead and pull up a yarn from that space. You will chain one. Now you still have two loops, and then you yarn over, pull through all. And make sure you put your stitch marker into that space so that you will know where to stop. And then into the next stitch, go into that stitch, pull up a yarn, chain, and then yarn over, pull through the two loops we have, and hook. And then into the next stitch, pull up a yarn from that space, chain, and then yarn over, pull through two loops. Now this is what we are going to do for this round. This is the pattern we are going to repeat for this round until you reach your stitch marker where we are going to make our increase. So instead of making a normal crochet, a single crochet, sorry, you first pull up a yarn, chain one, and then yarn over, pull through two loops. So this is what we are going to repeat. Do this like this until you reach your stitch marker, and then we are going to make our increase. Make sure you don't skip a stitch. Go into every single row you have and put a stitch into it. Okay, when you reach your stitch marker, remove the stitch marker, and then into that stitch, make a single crochet, extended single crochet. Into that same stitch, make another extended single crochet, and then into that same stitch, make another extended single crochet. Now we have 3 stitches into that same stitch. So into the middle stitch, we are going to put our stitch marker there. So this is where our increase will always take place, so don't forget to put your stitch marker in there. And after you have 3, then go into the next stitch, repeat the same thing by making an extended single crochet into every stitch you have until you reach your next stitch marker, and then you will do the same thing by putting 3 stitches into that same stitch where the stitch marker is coming from. So I'm just going to walk like this all around until I reach there. Okay, when you reach your next stitch marker, remove it and put 3 extended single crochet into that same stitch, and then put your stitch marker into the middle stitch. And then go now into the next stitch and repeat the same thing until we reach the starting point of our work. Make sure you put your stitch into the last stitch you already have, and then make a slip stitch where our stitch marker is coming from. Go into both loops, and then you will chain 1 and then turn your work. This is our first round is looking like. So chain 1, don't forget to chain 1, then you will turn your work, and make sure you know that where our slip stitch take place is always a stitch. So whenever you want to end your round, you work into that stitch. Okay, so now our next row is going to be an extended half double crochet into that first stitch, skipping the slip stitch and your chain 1 into the next stitch. Make a half double crochet extended, just like the same way we work our first round. Instead of making a normal half double crochet, you will do it in a very different way by yarning over, going into the loop, pull up a loop, chain 1. We still have 3 stitches, and then you will yarn over and pull through all, and then yarn over, go into the next stitch, chain 1. You have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all. And this is what we are going to do for this round. The only difference is the first round is extended single crochet, and the next round is half double crochet extended stitch. So this is what we are going to repeat. So repeat this until you reach your stitch marker. Now for the increase we are making, you can make more increase if you want your skirt more big, small. You can make less rows of increase. If you want it big, you can make more increase in row. And as you keep on increasing, you can try it on to see that you are comfortable with the size you already have, and then you can stop making your increases. So for this pattern, the second row is not going to have an increase, which means anytime you work an extended half double crochet, you are not going to make an increase. You will just go into that stitch where our stitch marker is coming from, and then make an extended half double crochet without no increase, and then you will put your stitch marker into that stitch. Now our next row is going to be an increase, so don't forget to put your stitch marker, and then work 1 stitch into every stitch, just like this. So work half double crochet like this, extended half double crochet stitch into every stitch around until you reach your stitch marker, and I'll meet you back there. So you're going to repeat the same thing for this other side. Now increase only one stitch into that stitch marker, and then you put your stitch marker into that stitch. Our next round we are going to make an increase into that stitch where our stitch marker is. So just keep on working it like this until you have the length you want for your ruffles, and you can stop. If you want it more long, you can continue making more long ruffles. If you want it short, you can leave it at any time, and then you will weave in the ends of your yarn and then hide the tails. So now you're going to work a lace by just making foundation chain for the waist side. For this one, I'm not actually going to I'm not going to make it any like the one I just make. I'm just going to demonstrate how I join the lace. So this is the inside of my skirt. So make a foundation chain as long as you want, and then folding your work into the top loops. I'm going to pull up that foundation chain that I already make. And I'm going to skip 2 stitches. And then to the next two rows, I'll fold it together and then pull up the yarn at the top. And then again I'll skip 2 rows and I'll work into the next 2 rows. So this is how we are going to join the lace for the top part, for the ribbon. This adjustment for the waist side of your ribbon. So we're going to repeat the same thing for the other side of our work. I want to say that if you find this tutorial useful, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave a comment, hit the notification button, so anytime I upload a new video you will be notified. So this is the outside of our work. So you're just going to repeat the same thing for the other side after you finish this side. Make sure your work is the center and the inclusive part should be at the side of your work, which is the hips area. So after you finish attaching the lace, this is how it's going to look like. It should be at the center. This is where our increase takes place, and this is the lace. So if you want to fix the lace, you can fix it, but if you think the ribbon is okay for you, you don't have to fix the lace, you don't have to fix it, you can just leave it. So this is what our work looks like, and I want to thank you for joining my YouTube channel, and I'll see you back into the next video. Bye.